Carson, Soucy, and Nikita Zadorov each face disciplinary action for their role in the fireworks at the end of Game 3. Leon Draisaitl speaks out on Artus Silovs, and the keys to victory in Game 4 are all just ahead. But first, make sure to hit that subscribe button and click the bell icon so you don't miss any and all Canucks updates this postseason. And with that, let's jump into our first topic of the day, which is Soucy and Zadorov punish. We saw on Monday afternoon that Soucy was suspended for cross-checking superstar Connor McDavid as per the NHL's Department of Player and Safety. And Monday morning, we did see that Nikita Zadorov was fined the maximum allowable under the CBA of $5,000 for cross-checking Edmonton's Connor McDavid. And we do see the hit. Admittedly, it was a dirty hit on Zadorov's part. I don't think on Soucy's part, because keep in mind, it was all prompted by McDavid slashing Soucy's skate, which Soucy responded like any normal person would by cross-checking back. However, I think he was aiming for his chest, and when Zadorov came in from behind, that's what made Soucy hit him in the neck. He seemed very regrettable in his presser on Monday, where he did not intend for it to happen. It was just a freak accident, and I do believe that. And there was also no punishment taken against Zach Hyman for his ensuing cross-check after that, which is pretty interesting. It's no surprise they're not going to punish McDavid. NHL isn't going to punish their golden boy. If he's off the ice, it's bad for business, and the NHL does not want that. So Vancouver will keep fighting the odds stacked against them, whether it's on the score sheet or on the ref sheet or just on the betting sheet. They are ready to put everyone's doubts to rest. And with that, they can't allow the refs to get to them like that, or what the NHL is doing with their suspensions and their fines. You just have to play it as it is. You can't beat them, so you just got to play your own game. And mind you, Connor McDavid did not face any repercussions for his high stick on Quinn Hughes, nor did Evander Kane for his slew foot also on Quinn Hughes. So it's interesting to see how this has shaken out through this series as far as the NHL and the refs are concerned. We don't think there's any conspiracy at hand. There has been things that Vancouver has gotten away with. Silovs in particular did get away with the holding the stick, but again, we call that even for the other actions in the previous game. But again, it's going to be the playoffs. It's going to get chippy. It's going to get aggressive. And it's just going to get more and more intense as the games get closer to the elimination games, where tensions are going to be high. They already are. Like we said, it already feels like it's so much later in this series because of how the tensions have boiled over. But it's going to be interesting to see how it shapes up down the stretch. And with Artus Silovs having a fantastic performance last night, there was one person who wasn't quite impressed. Leo Draisaitl was beefing with Silovs. He did have a comment to say where post is not good goaltending, and I think many people would agree with him. However, when Silovs was facing as many shots as he did, especially against Draisaitl, yes, Draisaitl did get the best of him, but Silovs did have the angle on him a few times when he did ring it off the post. So that is almost an extension of the save. And we've seen it time and time again where Silovs is just owning the crease and occupying every space. And the post is just an extra buddy and an extra asset, just like the stick or the blocker or the glove. He's just using all the tools at his disposal. And Draisaitl seems like he's a little mad about it. I mean, maybe he's seeing ghosts. I don't know. Like I said, he has gotten the best of Silovs a few times. But Silovs has been almost like Silovs, where he's just been all over, stopping everything, almost as if he has 8 legs. And Silovs did have a pretty witty response where it wasn't intentional, where he was asked, well, you made a key save off Draisaitl late in the period. Can you take us through that one? Asked Farhan Ladji. He said, which one? With a smirk. He wasn't trying to be cocky, though. I mean, he did say that wasn't the intention. It's just when you're facing a barrage of shots like that, it's hard to differentiate which one he was referring to, especially when Edmonton did have as many shots as they had in the second and third period. They were in Vancouver's zone the entire game. So if Silovs is getting his shots mixed up, can't blame him. He stopped 42 of them. It's going to get mixed up here and there. It's not like you can remember every single play like in football where it's a bit more narrow. And so with goalies, it's a bit harder to remember every single shot you face, especially when you face 45 of them in a game. So that's going to be interesting. Silovs did, however, have another historic game where he made 42 saves to help the Canucks take a 2-1 series lead, where Thatcher Demko is the only other rookie netminder in franchise history to post 42-plus saves in a game. He had 48 in Game 6 of the 2020 Round 2 and 42 of Game 5 of the 2020 Round 2. And Silovs got his fourth win of the postseason with his fourth win of the 2024 Stanley Cup playoffs. Over the past 10 years, only 3 different rookie goaltenders have posted more wins in a postseason. That's Jordan Bennington, Matt Murray, and Stuart Skinner himself, who we did see have a rough game. The mighty do fall at one point. Hopefully Silovs is able to just continue on this tear that he's had. We did mention earlier in the postseason where we were hoping that Silovs, and we thought that Silovs could go on a run like Bennington or Skinner did in that year, or Matt Murray. We threw Bennington and Matt Murray out specifically where we saw the potential in this guy, not only from the start, but as he got more opportunities. He just continued to impress us and the fans and Tocchet himself. He's just been on a tear this postseason. It's been great to see him emerge in a postseason where there has been lots of storylines throughout the NHL, not just in the Western Conference and specifically the Pacific, but in general. Silovs has been one of the top stories without a doubt, and it's been amazing to watch this kid just blossom and grow as a player. And heading into Game 4, there are some keys to the victory. The main one, and we've said it before, we'll say it again, we'll never get tired of saying it, stay out of the box. Edmonton has shown that they are so dangerous on the power play. And it's really been, their power play unit has been the only players really scoring, whether it's on the power play or just their regular lines. It's been Hyman, Draisaitl, Bouchard, McDavid, and Ekholm. Really, that's it. Corey Perry hasn't gotten a single point. McDavid was held off the point sheet for the first time in the postseason in Game 3. In Game 1, they were able to keep him off the shot sheet, so hopefully they can continue that going forward. But again, this power play unit is lethal. They're 4 for 8 on the power play. It's 50%, which is pretty insane. Considering Vancouver did have an 84% penalty kill rate heading into this series. They were great on the penalty kill, but when you're facing a power play like Edmonton, it's really hard to keep up, especially when you're hooking them or tripping them when you're trying to catch up because they're so fast compared to Vancouver. But again, you just got to rise to those occasions, shut them down on the penalty kill like they have been shutting teams down defensively all season later in games. And the other thing is, shut down the big 3 for Edmonton. We've seen it that they haven't really been able to score outside of the big 3 or their top line in general. Draisaitl, McDavid, and Hyman, they've been getting tons of playing time where no one really has had enough chance to get on the ice. Fogel's been pretty aggressive. Nugent Hopkins has been in there. Kane has been a pest like he always is. But there really hasn't been too much for Edmonton that have shown up, especially when you look at Vancouver. They just have depth at every area. That Joshua, Lindholm, and Garland line, they've been showing up when it matters, especially Lindholm and Joshua in Game 1s. Apparently he's Wayne Gretzky in Game 1s, much to Oilers fans' dismay. Then you have the Miller line where you have Suter, Miller, and Boeser, where their chemistry is off the charts. And especially if we see the resurgence of the Lotto line, that could make things very, very interesting. But again, Edmonton is where Edmonton is lacking in goaltending and in depth. Vancouver has been making that up and making them pay for it, and that's why they have the edge of 2-1 in the series. The other thing that Vancouver is going to have to keep in mind, and I don't think they're going to have a hard time remembering it, is next man up, and we're seeing that with Noah Juulsen. He's going to be getting the start in place for Soucy, who is on a one-game suspension, like we said. He's played 54 games this season, 1 goal, 6 assists, 7 points, -1 rating. Not a flashy stat sheet when you look at it, but Tocchet really likes him. The fans are a fan favorite. He is a fan favorite amongst fans. People have been calling for him to play in the comments and just in general. It will be nice to see him get some playing times. Hopefully he's able to make a splash with the much needed lineup changes that we've been seeing. And we've seen it where these guys are going to have some shakeup, and hopefully that leads to more goals. We saw where Almond and Carson, they were effective when in the little time that they had, and we're going to hopefully see them get more spotlight. Maybe these other AHL prospects like Jonathan Lecker-Mackey will get some playing time. I know Mark and I have been loving him and wanting to see him in a Canucks jersey sooner than later. But again, these other X-Factor guys got to show up, like Pettersson. He showed up in Game 2. He disappeared in Game 3 once again. But again, he's got to come up when it matters. And Boeser, he's been taking care of business. Miller, Suter's been coming up when it matters. Mikheyev, Bluger, and Lafferty, it's only a matter of time before they get going, because Vancouver has depth at every position almost, that they have a chance to score consistently with so many different players, compared to Edmonton, where they've had to just rely on their top line to get them points and just hope that the other lines don't give up anything to Vancouver. But the problem is that first line for Edmonton has been playing a lot. Hopefully it wears on them and they get tired before Silovs does, because Silovs has been facing just as much playing time. So it is going to be interesting. But one thing we would love to see again is that Lotto line with JT Miller, Elias Pettersson, and Brock Boeser. I think that will be exactly what Pettersson needs to get going, because Miller has been a points machine. Boeser has been a points and goals machine. So if you put all three of those guys together with someone who's been struggling, who is a consistent and high goal scorer like Pettersson, I think they can lead to a lot of red lights and a lot of victories, not just in this Edmonton series, but into the third round, where they're going to need it against a team like Colorado or Dallas if they get there. Hopefully Colorado and Dallas are just beating the crap out of each other, where they don't have enough will to fight in the next round. But the playoffs, everyone finds that will to fight. And with that, let's jump into comment of the day. And this comment comes to us from Eli Pevitz, who says, analysts always talking about the low number of shots on goal by the Canucks, but early in games they outshoot opponents. Then once Canucks score, they go into shutdown mode. This team is excellent defensively, maybe the best in the league. Check out Canucks record during the season when they scored the first goal. Don't talk shots on goal, talk grade A scoring chances. In that department, Canucks and Edmonton are neck and neck, leading to the Skinner factor. And I totally agree with this, especially the Skinner X factor. Like I said, goaltending and special teams and depth are the biggest things for playoffs, and where Edmonton is lacking in that, in the goaltending and the depth, Vancouver is making up for it, making them pay. And again, yes, they have been scoring early in games. They led the league in scoring first, and that's why they were leading so many different categories and winning so many different games, is because they were able to strike first, strike fast, and wear teams down later into the deep water periods. They take them out to the frozen deep water and swallow them up. It's been great to see, especially when they're facing a consistent attack like Edmonton has been doing and like Nashville did in the previous series. Their grade A scoring chances, yes, they have been great when they've had them. The only problem is when they're facing as many shots as Edmonton is giving them and the offensive pressure, it's only a matter of time before one gets in. Same with the power play. If you give them all these opportunities, it's only a matter before they score on it. So how you limit that? Just don't let them do that, and just stay in the offensive zone as much as you can. Corral these passes. We've been seeing these passes just go erratic and all over the place. They're bouncing off of sticks. Once Vancouver controls those passes, controls the neutral zone, it's going to be hard for Edmonton to get through those walls. Eventually, they'll get through at some points. There will be points where Edmonton is going to have that offensive pressure. It's not going to happen overnight, but I think as the series goes down, they're going to hopefully wear Edmonton down to the point where this top line of top three guys, they're going to have nothing left in the tank, and these other lines won't be able to step up when faced with this Vancouver depth. It's going to be amazing to see. They continue to dominate every other part of this game stats, like the comments said. That's been awesome to see and reassuring. But we would look to see more shots on goal, because the more pucks you get on net, the more goals you're going to score. It happens like that in hockey. But Vancouver has somehow been getting through with these games with low shots on net. But hopefully that isn't a reason for us to talk about the shots on net any much longer. Hopefully by the time Game 4 comes around, we're talking about a much different outcome. But for that, that's going to do it for this episode. And for more on the Canucks, stay tuned to Canucks Digest.